Wednesday night, under the bright lights of St James's Park, Newcastle welcome Arsenal at home in the EFL semi-final with a trip to Wembley at stake. Newcastle United come into this with a 2-goal lead after winning at the Emirates with a brilliant performance, brilliant display, and Eddie Howe certainly had Arteta's number on that day. But despite that, Arsenal come into this in fine form in Newcastle. Their home record isn't so good after defeated Bournemouth, defeated Fulham, and this is making me a little bit worried. I cannot lie. I'm excited for the game, but I'm also anxious for the game. But if Newcastle United win, this will be their second final in the last 3 years, which is unbelievable considering where we were when Eddie Howe took over. So this game has got a lot riding on it, a lot of magnitude, and if we can grab a trophy to our name, not only will it absolutely delight the fans, the football club, and the whole city will be absolutely buzzing, but it also strengthens our position in transfer markets. If we can start winning trophies, start putting our name in those lights of trophies and success, that's exactly what it does. Now, speaking of the transfer market, before we get on to the game, it has been a dire 3 transfer markets for Newcastle United. 0 signings for the senior team, and it's leaving me a little bit one-dimensional when we play football. We haven't got any quality coming off the bench, and this is what's worrying me about this game against Arsenal, because against Fulham, the players look tired, and I just praying to God they've just re-energized and ready for this game, and I've got no doubt they will be. So we're going to be talking about a little bit about what to expect from Arsenal, but also what to expect from Newcastle United and how Eddie Howe can approach this game. So I expect Arsenal to come flying out the blocks. They've just come off a 5-1 battering of Manchester City. Their tails will be high, their tails will be wagging, and they'll be absolutely looking forward to this game. But St James's Park has not been a happy hunting ground for Arsenal, especially in the past 2 years. We've beat them 1-0 in both occasions. But this is a different game. This is a different game. Arsenal know they've got to come out and win this game of football. So I expect them to come out with a quick start, play with intensity, but I actually think that would suit Newcastle United. If the game's lifted from minute 1 and the crowd's behind Newcastle, I think that would actually play into Newcastle's hands. But what can you expect from Arsenal? Well, Arsenal are excellent in the final third. They always create many chances, mainly playing by attacking the space between the opposition centre-backs and full-backs. So we need to be wary of this. What's worried me about Newcastle's performance defensively against Southampton, Fulham, Bournemouth, or anybody who has played recently, is a lack of concentration levels. We seem to switch off and we'll get punished for it. We cannot switch off against Arsenal because they will punish us. Now, Arsenal do play in the wide areas a lot, and they usually do this from underlapping fullbacks and moving midfielders into the wide areas to create overloads. That's something else we're going to have to be worried about, because for me, Tino hasn't been Tino of late. Lewis Hall's had a few shaky moments in games as well. So we need to be switched on into these areas, and can we support them a bit more? Can Gordon do a bit more defensive dogged work? Can Murphy do a bit more defensive doggy work without taking away anything from their qualities going forward? Now, what Arsenal are extremely good at is movement off the ball. You've got Martinelli, who moves off the ball. Whether he receives the ball or not, that's a different story. You've got Ethan Nwaneri, who's getting better and better per game, so I expect him to play on the right wing instead of Bukayo Saka. You've got Martinelli, who's excellent at finding the pockets of space, and they're really good at movement, using their winger to come inside before they receive the ball in order for their fullback to provide width. That just confuses fullbacks. Tino needs to be switched on to this, because if he's not, we'll get caught out. And this is how Arsenal create so many chances, because they've got so many bodies moving. Pulls you out of your position. You don't know who you're going to be marking. And this is why they're excellent at the third man runs. What Arsenal do brilliantly and goes quite under the radar is the very progressive and direct from the first phase and the second phase. Once they reach the third phase, Martinelli slows the game down. He doesn't do it because he's slow and he's tempered and he doesn't know what he's doing. He does it for a purpose, and the purpose is because Arteta wants everything to be positional. Everything's a positional kind of game. And Odegaard will slow the game down in order for teammates to get in the correct positions. This allows them to be compact if there's a turnover, so they're defensively solid, but attackers are also in the right positions so they can set up sequences. So this is something that hopefully Eddie Howe has been working on. And their final threat, and everybody knows about this threat, is they're a massive threat in set pieces. Dan Burn, Joe Linton's injured, unfortunately. We're going to have to be defensively solid and strong in set pieces, because Arsenal's record from set pieces this season is absolutely ridiculous. Just don't let them bully you is what I'm saying. Stand your ground, battle with them without giving away a penalty, obviously. But I do expect Arsenal to come flying out the traps, because they're going to be on a high when you've just had your biggest win against one of your most toughest rivals over the past 5-year or 4-year, whatever it is. They're going to be on a massive high, and they're going to come to St. James's Park absolutely buoyed with confidence. So what we need is the crowd. There's no better crowd in world football than Newcastle United when they're behind their team. Instantly just ups our intensity. It makes the players work harder, that extra 5-10%. And that's exactly what we need. So I don't want to hear any groans, scruffles if the game's not going our way, because I do expect Arsenal to have the majority of the possession of the ball, because they're very good at just zinging the ball about, so good at it. They've got technically excellent players, good in defensive transitions. They invert one of the fullbacks, so we need to exploit those wide areas when we receive the ball. And that's why I do think this is a tough game for Eddie Howe. It's a tough game for Eddie Howe because do you defend the 2-goal lead, or do you just go for that killer goal? That's what he's struggling with, I'm assuming. But Newcastle tactics, I expect them to stay exactly the same. I expect Eddie Howe just to play like Eddie Howe does. Intensity, set the tone of the game early on, make Arsenal aware that they're in for a tough game tonight. That's what we need to do. We didn't do it against Fulham. We let Fulham just move the ball around like it was an expedition game. Bournemouth, we couldn't match their intensity. I think that was just a one-off. So we need it in this game. Intensity is absolutely crucial, everything we do. And I feel for Eddie because, yes, he's got a 2-goal lead, but our game evolves around attack is the best form of defense. So I do expect Eddie Howe to do that. Use Isak's and Gordon's and Murphy's pace to our advantage. Arsenal like to invert one of their fullbacks. By doing that, it leaves 3 centre-backs. What you need to do is split those 3 centre-backs, because that creates more room and Isak will be more likely to get in on goal. We did this brilliantly at the Emirates when we broke through them. So let's use the width to our advantage. Anthony Gordon is unbelievable in transition moments. That's what we're going to have to do in games like today. But the most important thing to our game is don't be complacent. Let's keep concentration levels to an absolute maximum for the full 90 minutes. Track your runners, be aggressive when you're defending, and defend space. I would like to see Eddie Howe set us up in defending space, because what Arsenal want to do is attack space. So we need to defend that space, if that makes sense. We go to a man-to-man pressing against Arsenal, they'll just pick us apart, because if you man-to-man press against an elite team like Arsenal or Man City or Liverpool, their speed of thought and their players is too good. So they'll just pick the ball and zip the ball around you. That's not what you want to do, because they'll just pack players. What I mean by pack players is moving the ball to eliminate an opponent. Arsenal are excellent at this. Man City are excellent at this. So you don't want to go to a man-to-man pressing. Eddie Howe has tactically done a job on Arteta. And we've seen that at the Emirates, where literally went 5 for 5. 5 defenders, 5 midfielders, and packed the space. Didn't allow Arsenal any space in that last half an hour of that game, and Arsenal couldn't break it down. Now, I'm not saying we need to do that from the off, because we definitely don't, because that just invites pressure, and eventually they will cut through you. If we are winning, let's be disciplined. Disciplined is probably the right word I'm looking for. Let's be disciplined in our shape, and then we can break on Arsenal. Because in transition moments, we can get on Arsenal. But undoubtedly, Arsenal have got players we need to be wary of. Ethan Nwaneri is an unbelievable player. Receiving the ball on the half turn, playing cute little plays in the pockets of space. You've got Martin Odegaard, who just knits everything together. With Kai Havertz, it's quite a difficult one, because he's either absolutely terrible or he scores a hat-trick. There's never any in-between performance from him. He's either shit or he's good, and I'm just praying to God he's going to be shit. So how do I think Eddie Howe will set up? I think he's going to play his normal 4-3-3 shape. This is how we're set up against Fulham. Dubravka in goal, Tino Livramento at right back, Fabian Schär at centre back alongside Dan Burn with Lewis Hall. Now, will any of that back four change? For me, I would keep Dubravka in goal. I think he's performed pretty well. I would keep Tino Livramento at right back, and the reason being is because he's got pace. We need that pace. Martinelli isn't a player, isn't a winger that gets the ball to feet a lot. He wants to move in behind at speed, and that's what you need to be wary of. So he needs to be focused and use his pace to compete with Martinelli. So that's what I'll be looking for. Lewis Hall, I think he's had his moments in games against Fulham and Bournemouth, but not enough to take him out the side. Definitely keep Lewis Hall there. But Fabian Shaw and Burn is an interesting one because we have been conceding needlessly goals. And I think Sven Botman is our best defender and he needs to come back into this game. And for me personally, I hate to say it, but I'd probably bring him in for Fabian Shaw because when Sven Botman and Dan Burn played together at Tottenham, they were brilliant. They were brilliant. Tottenham didn't offer very much going forward. They were defensively brilliant. So I would look to do the same personally. Bruno Warno's going to start. Sandro's Warno's going to start. And their work rate in the midfield is going to be pivotal. The midfield battle in this could be the winning of this game. Joe Linton, no, he's likely to be missing with an injury. For me personally, I would start Miley because I think he's going to give her a lot more control than anybody else. But I've got a funny feeling he's going to start with either Longstaff or Willock. Out the two, if I was to choose, probably Longstaff. Have Willock to come on when you're looking to stretch a game. But I would start with Miley personally. And then Jacob Murphy, Anthony Gordon, Alexander Isak. I want to see a little bit more from Alexander Isak, to be honest. I want to see him moving a lot more, stretching their backline, looking to use the channels to his advantage, getting him behind Arsenal, looking to stretch him, spreading the play, giving us an outlet when we're under the cosh. That's what I want to see. But I'm incredibly excited about this game. Another final Newcastle United can reach. All we've got to do is not concede. I know it's easier said than done. We don't concede. We're going to Wembley. Tell me, I'm going to Wembley. But I want to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with my vision on the game? Do you agree with my starting 11? Personally, I would like to see Miley in there. I don't think he will be in there. And I want to see Botman come back in. But I want to hear your thoughts. Drop me a comment in the below what you think will happen. I'm going to go for a Newcastle United 1, Arsenal 1. That's my prediction. I'll be happy with that, undoubtedly. Let me know in the comments below. And if you go into the game, hopefully you enjoy it. Come on, Newcastle. How are the lads? Let's get to a final. Thanks for watching, guys.